Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the Miles and Crawford Variety Hour.
Woot woo!
Woot woo! I love your little woot woo. This is the day before St. Patty's Day, so we're celebrating March and all that goes with it. Also, St. Patrick, the patron saint of drinking, right? I'm sure that's what he's the saint of.
He loves a drink. He loves it.
That's what he does. I'm still sick, everybody. I'm going to cough for you a little bit so that you feel as sick as I do.
Oh, God. It's going around. I don't think it ever actually left Ohio. I think the sickness just keeps spreading within Ohio over and over again.
Ohio hates us. That's just how it is. We're going to talk about the Ides of March today, and we're going to talk about, last week we talked about some marijuanas.
Marijuana.
It's St. Patty's Day and the Ides of March. As Miles says, what the fuck is the Ides of March? But before we get into all that, we're going to do our weekly shout-outs and rants, raves, kudos, love, hugs, and just general applause for our podcast buddies.
Absolutely. I will have to say that, Friday is my favorite day because Friday always feels like fucking birthday. Always. You don't pay attention to Twitter for 8 hours or actually 3 hours, and suddenly you have 40 notifications. It's the best feeling ever. I love you, Potter and family. You guys have been such a success for us, I think, on Twitter. And even if we're not seeing our 200,000 downloads, unique downloads, bitches, we are seeing...
I'm sure they're there.
Yeah, that's how I feel. They have to be there. And so we want to say, just thank you to everybody on Twitter. We are up to 688 followers. So that is an improvement even from the last 2 weeks. So thanks, guys. We love you.
Nice. Awesome.
I know, right?
Badass.
I'm
very excited.
As always, we want to give shout out to the No Phony Network. As always, they've been a delight this week. So www.nophonynetwork.com. You will see us amongst many amazing podcasts. Check them out. Not only that, but the great thing is that No Phony has done is that if you are bored and you are on there and you're checking out all the different podcasts that the No Phony Network is going on to, you can actually get on there, click on us, and click on contact, and you can get right into our Discord conversations. So you can be able to talk to any of the podcasters at any time that we're checking our Discord.
To be like, oh God, here comes Crawford. Shh, everybody.
Shh, quiet.
Nobody's in here. So go away.
Exactly. So definitely go ahead and check them out. You can absolutely always check out milesandcrawford.com. You can always check us out on Patreon. By the way, we have a Patreon page. We have $0. But you're more than welcome to give us
$0. 0.
So we would like your money.
Yeah, just some of it, not all of it.
$1. We're saying, okay, even if we have, let's say, 26 absolute downloads every single, as soon as that episode hits, there's 26 of you that absolutely download. Give us $1. Your 99 cents, instead of spending it on Candy Crush or whatever game you're playing, just put it towards our Patreon. I mean, we've got stickers. They're not very big, but we've got stickers for you. Okay, we have stickers. So fucking just give us your goddamn money. Other than that, let's see here. Out to the other shout outs. Drinks with Larry cast. Plus, I love Drinks with Larry. They're the Ohio fam. Woo woo. Great, hilarious. Their podcast is funny as shit. Between Us Girls, absolutely amazing. Big nerdy questions.
I like those Between Two Girls. It reminds me of Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't remind me, just the title does. I'm not saying you girls remind me of him.
Absolutely. Big Nerdy Questions is a great podcast as well. For those who are looking across the pond, there is one that's actually called Across the Pond Cast. Great times. Go ahead and listen to them. Know Your Draft. And my newest listen this week was we watched a thing. And it's, again, just movie critics, but I thought that it was very genuine. It was great input. I really appreciated listening to their podcast. I only listened to one that was like 4 days ago, so I don't remember everything you said, gentlemen. I'm really sorry, but I promise I will re-listen and send you your iTunes review by the end of the weekend. And that is what I've got so far. But guess what, guys? Miles and Crawford MC Variety Hour is always looking for sponsors and money. Always.
Money. We love your money. We love you guys. I mean, whew, I almost messed that up.
Just give us your shit, okay? Thanks. Like, just don't fuck around with our hearts and just give us your money. All right. So, anyways, Crawford, what the fuck are the Ides of March?
Okay, first of all, have you ever seen the movie, The Ides of March? It has Ryan Gosling and George Clooney in it.
No, I have not.
It's pretty good. It's an alright movie. It's not something you write home about or anything, but The Ides of March is actually March 15th, which was yesterday. Today's the 16th. It's my mom's birthday. She doesn't listen, even though she says she does. So, happy birthday, Mom, that doesn't listen. I know you're not listening. No. It's actually the day that Julius Caesar was killed, but it's observed by several different religions as the day for all debts to be paid. So, does anybody owe you money? If so, today is like
actually yesterday, technically speaking.
Yeah, we are past midnight now because I like to sleep after I get off work. I have fallen asleep on Miles so many times, it's ridiculous. I think she just knows, like, Julia's not coming back, she's asleep. You should just call me. Just call me until I wake up. Julia! Crawford!
I know,
Crawford.
but, like, I would rather want you here with, like, some sleep than you be, like, a crackety-ass bitch.
Oh, I would be, too.
So...
Like, whatever.
It's a win-win for everybody.
So it's a day for all debts to be paid. So pay your dues, bitch, or I'll kill you. And that literally happened. But here is some history for you guys, all right? The Romans did not number days of a month sequentially from the first to the last day. Instead, they counted back from 3 fixed points of the month. The nuns, is that right? Is that just the same? The 5th or 7th, depending on the length of the midpoint. On the 13th, depending on the length of the month. The Ides, the 13th or the 15th, and the calends, first of the following month. That's how I'm going to say it. I forgot my cowbell today. The Ides occurred near the supposed... Oh, I'm sorry. I am having a hard time here. I'm going to start over. I'm going to delete that sentence right there. The Ides occurred near the midpoint on the 13th for most months, but on the 15th for March, May, July, and October. The Ides were supposed to be determined by the full moon, reflecting the lunar origin of the Roman calendar. On the earliest calendar, the Ides of March would have been the first full moon of the new year. Fun facts, right, guys? If you were able to follow me through as I stumbled. You ever read a sentence and then you read the sentence below the next sentence? That's what I was doing. I was skipping sentences. I was like, well, that doesn't read right. Oh, it's because I missed that sentence. Just a little bit of stupidity from Crawford, as always. Well, let's just keep giving you some more of those fun facts. This is why you don't let me talk a whole lot. I know it. It's almost like you're so much prettier when you're quiet, which I say to a lot of men. Okay, so in modern times,
Robert's really especially hilarious. I've already been half cocked and I'm sobering up right now, so it's all been in a lot of fun. I can't
edit all of it out.
No, we're just gonna have like 15 solid minutes of just Miles just laughing hysterically throughout the entire thing.
I even had to screenshot it and post it on Twitter last week.
That was really great. I love that.
Cute. I thought it was so cute. I kept seeing it through the podcast, and I was like, "That's Miles laughing." And I'd click on it, and I'd hit play, and sure enough, it's you laughing. I can literally spot you. Like if you came up missing, I'd be like, "I don't have a picture of her, but I know what she looks like audio-wise when she's laughing. Will that help?" Like showing them a picture of it. Like this is the only picture I have of her. So that's stupid.
No, it was so cute. It made me feel so loved. So loved. All right. So
Modern facts.
Okay. So in modern times, the Ides of March is best known as the date in which Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC. Caesar was...
Et tu, Brutus.
Et tu, Brutus. Caesar was stabbed to death at a meeting of the Senate, dickheads. So, as many as 60 conspirators led by Brutus and Cassius were involved. Caesar had been warned about his death, but he thought none of it. So on his way to the theater of Pompeii, where obviously he would be eventually assassinated, Caesar passed the guy who warned him and joked, "The Ides of March are come." So why do we care that Caesar died? Well, actually, Caesar's death was a closing event in the crisis of the Roman Republic and triggered the civil war that would result in the rise of the sole power of his adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus. So...
Hey, let me cut it. Did you watch that series Rome on HBO?
No.
Oh, man. Oh, Miles.
I suck.
You have HBO, right?
No, I only get HBO for Games of Thrones. So,
I'll give you my password.
Yes.
And you should watch Rome because it's totally it's Caesar, and you would love it. I know you would. But not to break in, continue on with your thought.
One, I'll take your password. And two, I only get HBO when I know, about 2 or 3 weeks before I know that Game of Thrones is about to come on. And that way I can binge watch Game of Thrones.
Beep.
And then catch up on HBO specials in between the weeks that I'm waiting for the next episode to come on. That's the kind of subscriber I am. I subscribe due to my own needs. So
usually we do too, but we've been letting it since Game of Thrones went off. We never canceled. I meant to, and then I didn't, and I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I really like this. A good series. Not to get out. I'm sorry that we're basic. I'm totally kidding. I just hijacked your modern facts. You're gonna have to reread the whole thing. People are like, what the fuck was she talking about? There's some really good series. There's one called Insecure I really like. Veep, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about HBO at the end. Get back to modern times, okay? And talking about Caesar dying. Et tu, Brutus. Et tu. I love that. Sorry. Okay. Shut up, Mom. Just shut up.
I can't even right now. Ooh.
Sorry.
Okay.
I get off.
So we were talking at some point about Caesar. Fourth anniversary. So the fourth anniversary of Caesar's death in 40 BC, after achieving a victory at the siege of Perugia, Octavian, aka Augustus, executed 300 senators and knights who had fought against him under Lucius Antonius, the brother of Mark Antony, or Anthony, whatever fucking fucked up language you read it in. The executions were one of a series of actions taken by Octavian to avenge Caesar's death. Suetonius and the historian Cassius Dio characterized the slaughter as a religious sacrifice, noting that it occurred on the Ides of March at the new altar to defy Julius. Look, the crazy Romans, the Ides of March have passed, and if you are listening and you haven't been stabbed to death, by people who you thought you can trust, you're doing a good job so far in your life. But when everybody's like, what the fuck is the Ides of March? You now know a little bit more about the Ides of March and why people are constantly stabbing the little Caesar's box.
Your debt's about to be paid, bitch.
Your debt.
So, I'm going to start using that like a gangster term. I'm about to Ides of March on your ass. I'm not even playing.
Just take a knife and find a little Caesar's box and just pretend to stab it.
I have seen people post pictures of that, and I love it.
It's so great.
Makes me so happy.
It's so happy. So, hey, Crawford,
yeah.
Let's go with, stabbing people in the back that we should trust. The kids are the adults now. What are your theories about the kids being adults now? I'd like to know about you.
You know what is, I'm kind of disappointed in our fellow adult Americans, because I've seen a lot of, jokes about, they can't even stop from eating Tide Pods, so I don't like the disrespect that our younger generation has been getting, because this is affecting their lives, are the ones at risk, not ours. We're not in high school, so I really don't like the fact that we've been disrespecting them and tossing their opinions. Yes, they're young, they don't have a lot of life experience, but they're not stupid. They understand what's going on in the world around them, and we should listen to them. I mean, they're the ones in the situation. They're the ones that are living it actively. You know, your kids, they'll be in middle school and high school soon. It could happen to any of us with kids in school at any time. I apologize. I know I can hear my voice like, hey, honey, how you doing? Buy me a drink. Tugging a beer, $5. Okay, that's stupid. I'm always like, that's stupid. But that's how I feel about it. I think they have some good ideas, and I think that's why we've got so much blowback from, or the NRA has gotten so much blowback from their corporate sponsors, and kind of the tide turning is that corporations and politicians are realizing that this generation and the next, they're going to be, we're talking about 16 kids that are 16 right now, they're going to be able to vote in 2 years. We're talking about a generation of kids who will have the power of the vote when it comes time for these people to be reelected. And if they want things to go their way, then they need to start pandering to that demographic. So you can go ahead and make fun of these kids all you want, but they're going to be adults, and they're going to be voting adults very soon. So I wouldn't fuck with them. You know what I mean? It's like, don't fuck with the fat, nerdy kid in school because he's going to be that billionaire that lands at the reunion in a fucking helicopter. Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
Thank God, I was just about to say that.
I know. I knew. I had to, throw that reference in. But, yeah. So, what do you think?
I mean, look, I think if anybody is my Facebook friend, basically, if you're friends with me on Facebook and or follow our Twitter feed, you know that I have been 100% supportive of the student walkout. I actually went to our local, so the day after the student walkout, our local schools here held a safety meeting. And so I went to that because I wanted to, in my day, when I went to high school many a moon ago, we had this problem of bomb threats. But we all knew that the bomb threats were probably fake because a bunch of stoners just wanted to get stoned. Because bomb threats never happened on a rainy day. Bomb threats only happen on really nice, beautiful, sunny spring days where you could get out of class and actually enjoy the rest of your afternoon. So we had a problem with bomb threats. And when that happened, one of the bomb threats, after several of them, we had one that was written in the girls' restroom, which led to the what we like to call in the Findlay High School, the potty patrol. So after
I saw your post about that. You were talking with somebody that you went to school with, and or whatever, and you were like, remember, you were the potty patrol, weren't you, or something? I don't know. I don't remember, but I do remember giggling about it.
So what happened was
Let me get you off track again.
Please do. I love getting off track. So back in the day, when we got in trouble for bomb threats, all of us had to suffer the pain of other people who never actually had bombs in the school, but they had to evacuate. We had to leave the school, or we had to, go play in the grass for like 2 or 3 hours until they could make sure that the school was safe. One of the bomb threats was written in the girls' restroom, and whatever. So they started putting guards outside of the restrooms. Okay, so then you had to sign in and sign out every time that you went to the restroom. And then when you would leave the restroom, the guards would go in and check the stalls and check the mirrors to make sure that you were not the kid writing bomb threats. Now, that seems reasonable. But when this very first went into place, they would actually just follow you into the stalls. So you're trying to skip class, and you're sitting in the potty because you're trying to just skip some fucking time out of your classroom.
Right. We didn't have cell phones back then either, people, so we didn't have anything to do. I mean, that's literally how desperate we were to get out of class.
Just sit there on the toilet. And
you know what? Find my own thoughts.
Yeah, but then the security would look over the stalls. They would look over the stalls at you. They would peer. They would ask if you're doing okay, which is super awkward because
that has to be invasion of privacy. I don't.
No, it was, and the parents called. Don't worry. Eventually, they quit following us.
The story gets better if you just let me tell it, Crawford.
No. But I mean, they were peering into the stalls like a bunch of creepy perverts, and of course the parents rebelled and was like, "How dare you stare at my child while they're peeing?" And they weren't staring at us while we were taking a piss or a shit, They were just like, "Why are you fucking taking so long?" I'm just trying to not jerk off, but take care of some time in here. So we all felt very diminished by the uptick in security that we suddenly had in our high school at that time. And so a group of wonderful, wonderful human beings got together and they screen printed their own t-shirts. And they would have our high school logo on the front of the shirt. And it would say, Finley imprisonment. And on the back was a big giant toilet. And it said Potty Patrol inmate number, whatever number they wanted to give you. And then all the kids got in trouble and detention and suspended for making Potty Patrol shirts. But it was funny because it's true. Like, back then, we weren't used to security and having to sign in and sign out of going to the restroom. This wasn't having a hall pass. Okay, we had to literally sign in and sign out when we went to the restroom. And it was at that time, again, you're talking 20 years ago, that was a huge, for us, our own security that we're like, come on, guys. Like, we all knew at that time there wasn't, of course, there was always a risk of some crazy kid. Columbine had happened in my generation, so I get it. But, come the fuck on. And so we felt very imprisoned by the new security system. We felt imprisoned by the new security guards having to, imagine you having to sign in and sign out every time you go in or go out of the restroom. And anyways, a bunch of kids made a bunch of t-shirts. It was very funny. It never really stopped though. I don't think it stopped after, it didn't stop until after I graduated before we had to quit signing in and signing out of the restrooms. So that's the thing. So I'm all about school security. And like I said, I went to the local school security meeting, where the teachers got to talk to police and fire departments and the, school faculty. And then there's actually, God bless the teenagers at Findlay High School who actually were there and showed up and then also talked to the adults. They, as teenagers, showed up to an adult event and talked to the adults about how they felt about going through what the fuck is it called? It's called, come on. The thing with active shooter drill.
Active shooter drill. Yeah, we've had 3 of those since the Parkland shooting. 3.
Yeah.
And one of them, the first one, they just called us with a message. They didn't tell us it was going to be a drill. I had to stop myself from driving into the school. I was flipped the fuck out. And then the next 2, they gave us a phone call before it happened. But the first one, they didn't, and it pissed me. I don't know if they did it just to see what kind of reaction, like what to expect. Like how many parents are going to, like what kind of a rush, what are we thinking of traffic-wise. If that's why they did it, that's cool, I get it. But it was like, please do not, the message was like, we're on a soft lockdown. Please do not come to the school, and blah, 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 blah. And then it was like 2 hours later before we got an update.
Oh, geez. See, fuck that. See, ours are scheduled. So, we've had, this is, I don't know if they started this year or they started last year, but I know for sure, they had to start last year because we're installing the boot. It's called the boot. There's several variations of the boot. I like saying the boot. I don't know why. But that's what it's called in different schools. So there's ones that are all different kind of contraptions about how you can lock the door from the inside so the outside shooter cannot get in. And I'm all about it. But the thing is, though, is that we're not taking care of the actual problem because we're dealing with a problem once the shooter gets in the school, but we're not actually dealing with what happens to prevent the shooter from getting into the school in the first place. But the boot is a metal thing that they put in the door. And basically what happens is that, the fire drill, you hear, the fucking whatever, the PA announcement, or you just actually hear gunshots. And the teacher runs to the door, and they take this massive metal plate, and it's not a little one like you've seen in other ones, but this is a massive metal plate, and they turn it around, and they put it in the door, and it can sustain up to 1,200 pounds of pressure before the door will fall, or be able to get cracked open. So that will help prevent the active shooter from busting in the door and shooting up a classroom. However, and that's great, but my children, who are in 3rd and 5th grade and will continue this drill until their senior year of high school, are 3 times a year or more going through the drills. They are being under an active shooter drill. Not only are they pretending that there's somebody in the school shooting them, but afterwards or during, they are talking about what to do in all the worst case scenarios. I'm at a loss for words because this was really heartbreaking to hear.
Well, that's just like when we talk about gun control. They're like, let's not address the issue. Let's just put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, fuck, man. Seriously, though. Like, Crawford, you have to be with... I know you don't have to be with me, but there has to be some kind of mental fucktation that we're doing to these kids by saying, there's an active shooter in this school. What are you going to do if he's in the classroom? How will you protect yourself? What are you going to do? And the thing that it brought me to physical tears was the mother who stood up and said, what happens to the kid who's going to the restroom when the active shooter's already there and all the doors are already locked? Where do they have to go? And the school's answer was, we don't know yet.
You know what? It's just upsetting. It's like, so, there's nothing for that one
Jump
kid
in a locker, go to the restroom and hide, and that's it. And
right, there's not a lot of options. Hopefully they're by an exit,
Yeah.
I mean,
that's all they've got, and it's absolutely scary. Now, I know that Hancock County in Ohio is, I will give them, I will let them know they are doing a great job. We're not working as just Findlay City Schools. We are working as an entire county. When the drills happen, the entire county will do the drills at the same time. So it's not just our school and our local counties. It's all of the local counties. So, I think Hancock County has like 80,000 people altogether. So all the kids on the same day are going through the active shooter drill together. And we have teamed up with all the forces around us in Hancock County that when or if a active shooter happens, that they're working as a team. The fire department, the EMTs, and the police departments, the state troopers, the sheriff department, all over the county are working together, and they're actually practicing these drills to be able to go to each school in a timely manner. So even if it doesn't happen at Findlay City Schools, but it happens in one of our local county schools, that our police department and our sheriff's department and our state troopers are all on the exact same page, that everyone is going to react the same way, hopefully. Okay, because nobody actually knows what they're going to do when this actually happens. And what we are bothered by is that we have... Do you have this, Crawford, where you have to... the doors are locked, and so you have to, like, ring a bell, and they have a video...
and they have a little camera.
Okay, so do you guys have ID?
No, we, this town is small enough where, like, there's only some of us parents that have to go to the school. I wish that we were video feeding this so you could have seen my face when I said that, because I just looked up like, No, there's really not much traffic in and out of that school except for, like, release and pick up,
But that's what I'm saying, though, and that was our concern is that if parents are... So I could walk up, ring the doorbell and say...
Not be related to anybody and say that you are, and how on the off chance say, I'm so-and-so's mom, I just, or dad, and he forgot his lunch, First of all, they don't know all the students' names, so you can even make up a name. It would get you in the door. Mm-hmm. Because, they never asked me for ID the first time I went up there, but I had also met them in the... Like I said, here, it's a small town, so the person that buzzed me in, I knew her because I signed my son up with her for school,
Yeah.
So she recognized me. Even if she didn't know my name, she knew I was a parent,
Yeah, and that's what our concern was, is that, but there's, not only that, but how many...
Findlay's huge.
Yeah, Findlay's huge. And not only that, but, like, there's a lot of substitute teachers. And they could just walk in. And so that was a majority of the parents' concern was, you could just bring that... at this... What's the point of having a fucking locked door if you're just going to buzz everybody in? Honestly. And the high school students, their biggest concern is the actual glass windows. They don't want to be bricked in, but they're correct. Where, there's entire rows of windows without curtains that aren't bulletproof that are just there. And at any point, so even if the active shooter isn't in the school, he can shoot in through the classrooms on so many different variant points of the high school grounds. And that's just it, though. The parents never thought about that, but it was the high school kids who stood up and said, here's our concerns. Here's our safety issues. We've been through this. They actually walked all the parents through what it's like to go through the drills. And these kids, by the way, did this without being asked to do this. They went in by their own voluntary. They chose to stand up. They chose to raise their hand. They chose to wait politely, you know, and I really commend those students because first and foremost, when they stood up, they thanked everybody for being there, including the parents and the sheriffs and the police. And they thanked them for allowing them to walk out of the school on the kids' protest day. And they said, but in all honesty, one girl, I really appreciated her, said something along the lines of, thank you for being here, but you can tell us what you want to tell us, but we have to start taking ownership of our own lives. So this is how we're taking ownership of our own selves. And so you have high school students who no longer have to worry about SATs, PSATs, ACTs, graduation, and college. But now they're worrying about how to save themselves from an active school shooting situation. And yes, there was a parent who stood up and said, let's just arm the teachers. And I about flipped my fucking wig. But thank God there was enough parents who stood up and said, arming people is not the way to go. In this town that's very highly Republic, very NRA loving, I appreciated the amount of parents who said, this isn't about just bullying. This isn't just about drugs. This isn't just about a messed up kid somewhere. This isn't about arming our teachers. This is about getting more counselors in and talking to more of the students. This is about our own safety. And if you guys can't do it, I want to let you know. I mean, 5 teenagers stood up and said, if you aren't going to be there for us, that's fine. We're taking care of each other. And that, to me, was like the tears, you know, just streaming like, I've got this. I'm cool. I'm not crying, you know. But it was that's how I feel about the kids being adults, because right now we're on Facebook and Twitter and we're firing people in the most fucking prestigious of fucking positions in our country. And here in a town of 40,000 people, in a county of 70,000 people, we've got teenagers who's looking at the adults in their faces and telling them, don't worry, we'll take care of ourselves. And that, to me, is pretty phenomenal.
I'm surprised at how different this much younger, what is the generation before millennials? What's that, Gen Y?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm impressed with Gen Y. They seem to be much more socially conscious and a little bit more aware, more woke, I guess, because they were born in the internet age where instant information, you know what I mean? You can learn anything you want. They weren't just, they didn't just grow up in small towns and only have the people around them and local news to shape their ideas. You know, they have the internet from a very young age. So it's definitely, I think it's interesting. I kind of want to read a little bit more about that and the social experiments or whatever kind of studies are out there about that. You know, like, is the internet actually improving our intelligence? Even though there's a lot of stupid shit on the internet, the whole Tide Pod challenge and all that, you're going to have those kids, you know. But there's another group of kids that are trying to lead already, and they're not even 18 years old yet.
It's pretty
or some
fascinating.
Of them are,
no,
you know, they're all very young.
No, I have
they're
to
not
agree.
even old enough to drink or buy cigarettes,
okay.
which they shouldn't, anyways.
no, you shouldn't. But no, I would have to agree. I'm really proud, and I will support every kid. And walking up and not walking out is, to me, not the phrase that we should be using right now. I think that I do agree that there is I believe in the overall consensus that we're teaching kids that they're not being nice enough, which is funny compared to the fact that we're all being called a bunch of fucking emotional snowflakes who can't get their shit together.
I really think that whole walk up, not out, hashtag walk up, I think it's walk up, not walk out, or something like that, where people were encouraging students to not walk out of school, but to go around posting like positive notes on people's lockers, like, and just, you know, being nice to each other, for a whole day, and then just go back to how it is, you know, like, let's just not bully and, you know, prevent bullying, and we can stop gun problems. But that's always been an element of school. You're just always going to have that, you know. Some people are jerks. You cannot change that. Not everybody's going to be nice. That's called a utopia. Those don't exist.
Yeah.
That's life.
Exactly. And you know, and I appreciate this person who had posted about, you know, even Columbine, where, you know, it wasn't that those kids, and it's not that they weren't bullied to an extent, because they were, but they said, I mean, those kids did a lot to oust themselves. They, you know, back then,
they made themselves outcasts on, and were proud of it, but at the same time, it made them angry.
Exactly. And you can't, those kids were running around and, white supremacists and hail hot, just to get a rise out of people. And I'm not saying it's nobody's fault. Here's the thing. I can't say this enough. You know whose fault it was for Columbine? It was the fucking kids' fault. That actually fucking killed it was Dennis Klebold and Dylan, thank you.
And Eric Harris.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been
I know I read a lot about Columbine when back in my early 20s. I was really fascinated by it.
Yeah, but it was their fault. That's who fault Columbine was. I don't think it was the students' fault. No, at first I did. At first. I'm not going to lie.
Well, the whole media circus around it when it happened, that really had an effect on it and our idea of how that happened and what caused it. But if you really look into Columbine, I think that Eric was a psychopath and Dylan followed him along, and I don't think that he ever really, I don't know, I don't want to upset anybody or whatever, but I've read a lot about it, and he was, Eric had it very methodically planned out, whereas Dylan's journals were different, and I think it was, not to say that he isn't guilty, and he obviously did murder 12 others. I think there was 13 or 14 people that were killed, 12 victims, and the 2 shooters that day. But the psyche behind these shoots are not just bullied. There's something inherently wrong with them, like on another level. Everybody gets bullied, you know what I mean? But some of these kids are just like, fuck it, I'll just kill them.
Yeah, and I appreciate this girl Abby that I knew in high school, and we have become friends on Facebook. And I really, I wanted to just like share her post 1,000 times, and put like 100 hashtag shake hands, woke, shook, whatever. When she had said, I'm so surprised about the amount of kids who are talking about the anti-bullying are the exact same kids who wrote slut on my driveway while I was in high school. And that is another thing that I find fascinating, is that I do see, as an adult, a lot of these other adults who are a fucking bunch of goddamn assholes in high school who are suddenly on the anti-bullying campaign. And I, just want to be like, fuck you. Fuck you, because you were a bully. You were a piece of shit. You were that motherfucker who went out there and made everybody's life a living hell in high school. And now you want to say that we should walk up and be nice? Because we were nice. And there was a lot of things in high school. I mean, I could rant on, because fuck high school. I really didn't. I wasn't a big fan of it. And, which is fine. I had a lot of good friends, and I had a lot of really shitty people at my school. I mean, I had a graduating class of 460, or no, 410. I don't know. It was over 400 fucking kids.
Yeah, you guys had bigger class. I went to school over in about 20 minutes away from you, and it was much smaller class size. But Findlay has a very big class size where you can graduate and you can bump into somebody like, oh, do you know so-and-so? And it's just somebody that you never had classes with or ever shared the same floor locker. I mean, there's some people that you just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where you didn't know everybody, but you knew the handful of dickwads that were around there. And so when you see those dickwads posting about, anti-bullying, and I'm like, no. Like, you were a dick in high school. You were that person. And I get that your conscience may be eating at you, but if you haven't publicly apologized to the kids that you were an asshole to, then I don't think that you should be up on fucking Facebook or any part of social media, talking about how kids need to, be kinder to one another, when your example, and I get it was 20 years ago, but a lot of times too, though, a lot of those bullies in high school don't change as adults, and they've just become adults on Facebook, and we're being bullied by the exact same fucking, assholes in high school on Facebook or on Twitter or on Tumblr or Reddit, whoever the fuck ever, who have and it's vice versa. There's a lot of, kids who were bullied and they have a superiority complex when it comes to the internet, so there's a lot of that. So, it's one of those things that I don't think that it was anybody's fault on any of these school shootings outside of the kids. And yes, the parents could have seen. Of course, the parents could have seen. Of course they could. But I'm going to be real honest with you. I got an 11 and a 9-year-old, and they might have some, like, really bad days, or they might say some, like, weird shit from time to time, and I might, like, check them or check myself. But, I don't think it's not to say that some of these kids, you can't look at them and be like, dude, that kid's fucked up, But
Right.
it also depends on their environment. Because a parent like me, who's much more aware of feelings and emotions and how things come across, might, have a double take when her kid says something out of line or out of context. And, we don't just, oh, my kid's just being an asshole. It's more like, hey, buddy, like, are you okay? And not that I'm trying to make my kid a snowflake, but, I'm trying to actually emotionally check in with them. And why some parents will see that exact same sentence and be like, you're a fucking pussy, grow up.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Like, so for us to blame just the parents too, it's like, well, again, some of these parents were just raised in that environment, and they believe that's how they should raise their kid. Wrong or right, I mean, we're fighting every day about how we're supposed to raise kids. Crawford, what is the newest plastic that our kids aren't supposed to be drinking bottles out of? What is the newest fats they're not allowed to absorb? Should we no longer feed our fucking kids certain fruits? I mean, come on.
You know what? I have a granddaughter, little Emily, and she's just turned 8 months old, and her mom and dad are like, with everything, and I'm like, just put her on the floor. She'll be okay. They're just way too, they're always worried about that kind of stuff, like everything, and I'm like, she's just a baby. Let her play. They want to put everything in their mouth. That's just normal.
That's just how it is. And again, but because you're...
Don't be concerned.
Yeah, but your kid's also been taught, though, for a while now, that kids aren't supposed to, be exposed to dirt, mud, bacteria.
Yeah.
They're judged.
I know.
No matter what. So we can judge the parents away, but now we're judging the kids that the other kids who shot, it's...
See, not me. I made my kids eat sandwiches with dirty hands. Like, you better not go wash your hands.
No.
You sit down right now and eat that sandwich. Then we're never sick.
Yes, bacteria is fucking good. Damn it.
Strong, healthy boys now. No, but they are both like 6'3", 6'4",
Yeah, they are healthy kids now, man.
Beanstalks, bro. No, that's terrible. I'm not advising that you let I don't know where your kids' hands been, and I did make them wash their hands. I'm just being funny.
I think it's very...
Or not.
Look, I got a 9-year-old who's going through pink eye because he didn't shower for a fucking week, and now I've got my youngest who's got pink eye, which he hasn't had in like 4 years. He's like, why is my eyes sting? I'm like, because you haven't showered in a fucking week, buddy, and you're gross and dirty, and I've been yelling at you to shower. You've refused to do so. I said, fine, sit in your own filth, and now you've got pink eye. And I'm not taking you to the doctors because they're not giving kids antibiotics anymore for pink eye. By the way, if you have kids, antibiotics is no longer allowed for pink eye. You have to just, hope to God, A, that your kid doesn't go blind, and make sure they're putting a hot cloth on their eye every, 2 or 3 hours. And hope that it goes away, unless it looks like it's spreading or getting worse.
Isn't that because you fart on your pillow or something?
That's exactly what it is. Pick your butt, scratch your eye.
2 boys.
You're dirty. I got...
One of your kids could have farted on it. Somebody farted on his pillow.
It was probably Parker. Let's be real honest.
I wasn't going to say it.
But we all know.
Because you never talk about other people's kids, because that's a no-no.
But my oldest is an asshole, and I love him. But
and he's so serious.
He's so serious. He actually wants to come on next week's podcast, and he wants to talk about Stephen Hawking for 10 minutes, he said.
Oh, that would be really great. I'd love to have Parker on, and I'd love to talk about Stephen Hawking. Aiden is also a big, huge astrophysics fan. So that'll be... Yeah,
I think that would be really fun to bring the kids on and just kind of even let them banter on for a little while and do whatever. But he's so I understand that our podcast is not for kids, but my 11-year Crawford knows this. My 11-year-old has no boundaries.
No, he's funny,
dude.
Oh my gosh, he would be our total comedy. Everybody would be like, Parker.
He would love that. He's such funny like that.
Aiden's such a fan of Stephen Hawking that when he passed on, he came right out and told his dad, like, did you hear Stephen Hawking died? Because they both used to watch, what was that series he did for a little bit?
Oh, I know what you're
That was
talking about, but I
years-
don't know the name of it right now.
Yeah, they watched that together, and they were both big fans of his. So, anyways, Parker is serious, and he's very hilarious, and he's woke, I guess you would say.
He's almost like too woke, like where it scares me. Like he gets it. Like there's you. We could talk about anything at this point, and Parker could just chime right in with his. I can't stop the kid. I'm not. He's an old soul. He's a very, very, very old, serious soul, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. I love him, and he's funny as shit because he has the best comments. He has the best comebacks. He has that sarcastic, dry undertone that you don't know if he's being serious or if like he's joking. It's a very great. But I think we should get like Aiden and him on, and they can just like talk about Stephen Hawking and like kid shit for like a handful of minutes next podcast. I think that would be funny, like just to see what they would actually, say.
I think Aiden would. I'm not sure if he'd be into that. I have to ask him. I don't know how shy he'd be. I mean, like, oh no, I'm not. That would be so embarrassing, Mom. Because Aiden's 14. He's Parker's still like, my mom's cool, and Aiden's like, please don't get out of the car.
No, I'm not cool. I suck at all kinds of levels. I'm the worst person on the face of the universe because I make him like do 30 minutes of chores every day, and that like is like the worst. I'm like, dude, I just asked you to unload and reload the dishwasher and sweep the kitchen. Like, that's not
trying to help you out, buddy.
Just trying to make your life better so you become a better worker and whatever it is that we're supposed to be doing.
So it's just automatic when you're older. You're just like, that's what you do.
Fucking adulting sucks, though. And speaking of adulting, by the way,
tomorrow's
St. Patrick's Day, so I'm not really sure how exciting that is. I mean, it's exciting, but because I'm Irish, but like at the same,
I'm excited for it. I work tomorrow morning. I work 11 to 5. I have I got a little green tulle skirt, a tiny hat, necklace. I got some wristbands. I got all kinds of good stuff. and a t-shirt. Dilly Dilly!
I'm so excited to come see you tomorrow.
I am excited to have you. It's going to be a good time. You'll have to just bear through some of the talk you might hear. Just grit your teeth. Have another drink.
Yeah. I'm super. I'm just excited. I just want to come see you and all your sweet ass gear, and it'd be fantastic.
Oh, definitely. And we're everybody's been into this basketball. Is this what this is? Basketball or something with the brackets? People were talking about it all day today, and I never once looked at the TV to see which sport. I was like, yeah, sounds great. Oh, you lost 4, huh? Oh, you picked those.
It's called March Madness. It's like a thing.
I know. I know it is. But that's how completely clueless I am about it, though. I'm like, brackets, okay. Like, my boss called me because the first game started at noon, I think, today. Yeah. And he called me at like 11:45, and he was like, make sure you pull the brackets because nobody can submit any after noon because we have, like, betting. So I had to, like, lock them up. And then I did have, like, 2 or 3 people who, like, came in, like, come on, man. Just let me in.
No.
I had these pre-picked. I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry. You had to have them in before noon today.
St. Patty's Day, though. I mean, it's a good time. I'm excited to go see you. We're celebrating St. Patrick for bringing Christianity to Ireland. I'm not really sure if anybody's really that excited about that. I mean, I like St. Patrick's Day just because I kind of like to watch people more so than anything else. Like, I like watching the younger generation, like, have no idea why they're drinking green beer and having green shits for 3 days.
Yes, I have some green food coloring, actually.
Yeah.
Somewhere around the bar.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like, I no, don't get me wrong. My husband's actually going to go, I get to drop him off early in the morning for Kegs and Eggs. And then pick him up from one restaurant. I'm going to take him to another restaurant, and then I got to pick him up from there so he can come home and vomit, and then I can come see you. That's legitimately my plan for tomorrow. It's going to be funny because he's, unlike myself, my husband is not a very big drinker. So when he goes out and he drinks, like, he doesn't understand limitations. So he tends to get, like, fucking full-on shit-faced. So I'm really excited for him to do that because I'm already like, okay, like by like 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to have like a pillow and a blanket laid out by the toilet for him just to be on the safe side. It's going to be great, and I'm just going to laugh. And I just want to go, and I want to visit my Crawford, and I just want to go hang out with her and like laugh at like the Republicans that you have in your bar and just hang out so I can say, A, I got out of my house on St. Patty's Day, and B, just to do something different, just because, you know, we're fucking American, and we've totally Americanized the fucking shit out of St. Patty's Day, but I love it. I love the green shirts, because, first of all, Kelly green is my favorite green. It's such a good green, and I look amazing in it, so I'm really pumped for it.
I have a super awesome get up planned, and I got some flashy gear, and I don't know what I'm gonna do after work. I have to work the next day. I gotta be to work at 10, so
Boo.
probably nothing too crazy. Maybe a few drinks. I don't know. I'll see how the day plays out. I don't have a whole lot going on actually in the afternoon.
So nice.
It's,
Take a nap, and then you can go out for nighttime, man. You got to pregame by sleeping. Pregame is sleeping while you're in your 30s. If you really want to hang for St. Patty's Day, the best thing you can do is pregame is called sleep. Sleep, sleep, and carbs, and sleep.
Yep. I like to eat and drink. I'm an eater and a drinker. Like, I'll be like, let's order a pizza.
Yeah.
And then I'll have like 4 more drinks. And then I'll be like, I need some chips. And I'll just layer it. Like, I went to the bar with some friends, and they were like, what do you got in your purse? Because I think I had jerky and something else. I don't remember what. I don't think it was jerky and cashews. And I was eating jerky and cashews all night. And then people were like, are you eating jerky? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm maintaining.
I'm maintaining. I'm going throughout the evening. It's all that matters, damn it.
Cashews and a couple hands of cashews and drank and jerky. I tell you what, I didn't get trashed, though. I just had a great buzz, so.
That's all that
And
matters.
I hung all night. Yeah. Just got to layer, folks. That's my advice this week.
Yeah. So we're getting wrapping up about the hour mark. What are we talking about next week, Crawford? What do you want to talk about? Besides me, we're going to have the Stephen Hawking piece, but beyond Stephen Hawking, what else do you want to talk about?
Maybe we can.
You want to talk about aliens like next week in honor of?
Let's talk about the universe. And you know what? We do that all the time, and I love it. I don't care. We'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody loves talking about that kind of stuff. Well, not everybody, but
we're getting a stars force. Trump said we're getting a new stars force, so I'm really excited.
Did you see that? I giggled, like, oh my god, he's so cute. I mean, he's not, but you know what I mean.
He's so fucking dumb.
His childlikeness.
Yeah.
It's like we literally have a child in the White House with his ideas. I mean, the things that he comes up with, they're so infantile.
I lied to Justin Trudeau, and we're going to Mars with the Star Force. Yeah!
Woo! I think it's stupid, and I think Trump's stupid. I am excited to. I think in our lifetime, we might just get outside of Earth's orbit, Miles. You know, we might be able to circle the Earth. It'll be like a vacation. You know, they're already kind of experimenting with that. So I do think we might make it into space in our lifetime.
I will be so excited. That'd be so cool.
I mean, it'd be cool if we can like take trips to the moon, but I'd be okay with just like a lap around the Earth. If, you know, like just tumbling in a little Apollo 13 looking thing.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
I'm good. 2-3 days. I don't know. How many days does it take to get around the Earth?
I don't know. That's something that we should talk about
180.
Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a long ride, but by then we'll probably speed things up. Who knows? Who knows?
No, I mean, that was Jules Verne, I think.
Oh.
The 180 days around the world.
Yeah. Oh,
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have the number wrong, but that's the reference I'm trying to make, everybody. So correct yourself. It's stupid.
It's not stupid.
I'm sorry, my throat's starting to get really dry.
That's okay. We'll get this wrapped up. Hey, guys, thanks for listening in. Thanks for, the love. Thank you for I know we have a new review, so thank you so much for the new reviews on iTunes. We definitely appreciate that. Thank you for following us.
Awesome.
You can find us on everything now, from Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Google Play, iTunes. I mean, Audible, Anchor, whatever the fuck you guys want to find us on, you're going to find us on.
Literally, even like TuneIn FM. I mean, we're on just about every platform. We really are. So we're not hard to find.
And give us your money.
So that's all we don't just want. We kind of want you to be our buddies too.
Comment section, reviews, and your money.
And your money. Just a couple bucks a month would really help us.
Your money.
Your money. We should make a jingle that we sing at the end.
And that's
Maybe
a part
people
of
will
my
give us
next
money
week
if we-
project is our jingle and promotion, and we want money.
Yeah, we'll do a little jingle for you guys, and it'll be amazing. But anyways, we'll be back next week with some space talk, some enlightened views from some young minds, and probably just some randomness. So see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Loop, loop.